So we all agree that it's more fun to be together in person than on Zoom, but we're happy that we have this option since we can't be together. So I'm Dorothy DeVore, and I have been a member of American Mothers since 2007. All just really great mothers that I love and admire and I learn from. So thank you for being part. So with the cancellation of our annual California Gala, which has always been a beautiful event where we get together, but we had to cancel last minute in March, and then our annual wonderful convention in DC had to be canceled as well. But we just want you to know that we are still very active, and we'll be staying in touch, and we have a new board, and we have a new Mother of the Year, and we'll be hearing from her and from Susan, who was our last year Mother of the Year. Lorraine Clark is our immediate past president, and she still remains the energy and the commitment to this organization in our California chapter. And earlier this week, she finished her second round of chemo, and she'll be, yes, she's looking good. Probably won't feel better in a couple of days, but she will be having surgery in July, and she's already experienced many miracles, and we just really pray for more so that she'll be able to continue with us. So, welcoming you, I will also now just turn the time over to Lorraine for some introductions.
I want to just thank everybody for coming on to this Zoom, and more importantly, I want to thank everybody for their continued support to American Mothers in California. I'm excited to support Dorothy and think that I'll even be more effective not having to be in charge and make decisions. So I leave it up to her. And I have to say how grateful I am for Jenny that she's picked up the social media side and all of the communications, which I think we've already seen a big improvement in that, and we'll continue to see that. And so our hope is that we'll stay connected through social media until we can get back together. I would like to offer an opportunity to have lunch with whoever can be available at whatever point we decide we can do that. So I think if we could go around real quick and just introduce each other, it'd be better than if I tried to introduce everybody. So.
Okay, I'm Renee Starr. I started with this organization in 2012. I was Mother of the Year in 2013. So I started with Bev Nelson as the president, and at that time we were really just trying to kick things off and get things going and starting a board. So we had a lot of work to do. We had a lot of meetings to go to, but we really enjoyed ourselves. I really love the organization. I think it's a good thing. I think we need this in America. And mothers need to feel good about who they are and whether they have a career outside the home or whether their career's inside the home. Anyway, happy to be with all of you.
Thank you. And she is on the board working on the Mother of the Year search with Lorraine. Okay, Jenny.
Oh, all right. I'm Jenny Columber, and I'm up in Hollister, so I'm north of a lot of you. I have been in American Mother several times. I lived in Utah for a while and was a member in there and had a really great experience and loved it there. And so just last fall, I looked it up again now that we've lived in California for 5 years and was excited to join here and to see what we are doing here in California as mothers. So I have 7 kids at home, well, 6 at home. One just went to college, and loving getting to know people and being a part of it.
Thank you. We'll hear from her in a while. And Susan will be introducing you in a minute. And Sumi, do you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, hi.
Hi.
My name's Sumi Tatsui. I'm Susan Dorothy's mother. I'm very proud of her. I'm very impressed with your organization. And I don't know, I don't have much to say about myself except that I'm very proud of her. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. This is very, very nice. And you deserve to be proud of her. She's
And
amazing.
you look too young to be her mother.
Yes. Okay, Karen.
Sure. Hi, everybody. First of all, Jenny, you have a college person. You look like you should be in college. So,
What I was going to say.
I'm Karen Payson. I live in Rancho Cucamonga. I got involved with this organization through Lorraine. Who hasn't gotten involved through Lorraine? I appreciate her invitation. And I was Mother of Distinction. Is that what they call those awards or something? A couple of years ago.
Achievement.
A Mother of Achievement. Thank you. That was a great honor. And I'm excited to work on the 5th grade essays with Tina and Lorraine. And my passion is education. I've served on the school board here in Alta Loma for 26 years. So it'll be a lot of fun to add that knowledge to here.
Thank you. Thank you. Joanne.
Oh, I'm Joanne Michaels. I live in Burbank. I was California Mother of the Year in 2015. And my ongoing projects are to contribute to Operation Underground Railroad, which combats child sexual slavery. And joint project, I finally got my book published.
Ah.
Oh, it's backwards, right?
No?
No, it's looking good.
Clay?
I was thinking yesterday I'm going to tattoo my expiration date on my forehead so my children will know. But then I wonder if they look at me if it's going to be backwards. Anyway, this book is about child exploitation. It's a true story. It's about a street kid who grew up in the Philippines and experienced all kinds of difficulty in his childhood, along with a lot of great adventure. Some of you have read it. And I wrote this book over a period of 20 years, mostly because of my interruptions. That would be namely 8 children and 29 grandchildren and 5 great-grandchildren.
Oh my goodness.
Almost. But I have published it now, and I'm looking for opportunities to lecture about it. I'm also willing to still lecture about child sexual slavery.
Yes.
If I have that opportunity.
Thank you, Joanne. You've given great presentations about that. Okay. She's a good friend of Tim Ballard. Her son-in-law works with him still, right?
He's too recognizable now to go on the jump teams.
Oh, okay.
His wife would probably object this time. You know, it's interesting. I have 2 of the dog tags that Tim presented at one of his big galas here, and they talked about Gardy, one of their first children that they looked for. And I took those 2 extra ones to give to Weston's children, who are now teenagers, but Weston's wife, my daughter, does not want to tell them yet about what her husband did. For me, he's my hero, and I think anybody willing to go on the jump team for that, in that kind of danger, is to be celebrated. And so someday, when my daughter says yes, I'm going to give each of those grandchildren those dog tags and tell them what their father did in Colombia. That was the biggest arrest of all time that they made, and the opposition was fully armed and dangerous, and it was a scary thing. Weston's parents were terrified. I was my hero.
Yes. No.
It's wonderful for those who can step up to the plate in that way.
Yes. All right. And Simona we'll be hearing from, so we'll skip her for the moment. Mary Helen.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mary Helen. I live in Los Angeles, California. I've been with American Mothers since 2017. I was awarded Mother of award, I believe it was, Lorraine, yes. And I have a lot of crazy projects going on as a cancer survivor, as with my daughter and her period project that she helps the homeless women with feminine products. I work with LAUSD in operations. So right now we are trying to put together the best and safest program to try and get kids back to school and away from distance learning with all the madness that's going on with COVID. We're also trying to help all of our seniors and graduating students as best as possible because they have lost a lot, our seniors, and you know, our middle schoolers, our seniors. I have two girls. My oldest daughter just graduated from Syracuse with her master's and is on to Colorado to work on her doctorate. And my youngest daughter is in 10th grade. So we're pretty busy around here. The whole COVID has put us at the district in a whole new manner of what nobody ever expected. So that's me, from Los Angeles.
You and Karen have a lot in common, it sounds like.
Big job.
Big job. Okay, Chanel.
My name's Chanel Nielsen. I live out in Beaumont, so kind of near Karen. I think you said Rancho, in the South, in Southern California. I have 5 kids who are all still at home, and I was nominated last year by my mother-in-law, really right before she passed away, actually. And I am a podcaster, I'm an author, and moms are my people. I podcast. I have a podcast for moms, and that's about it.
The fact that you were nominated by your mother-in-law speaks volumes. I just think that's wonderful. Good for you.
Yes. And her mother-in-law.
Chanel, what's your podcast called?
My podcast is called Moms Who Know.
And you also did a book for children in China, moms in China, right?
Yes, so I have a few books. One is a parenting book it was published as Parenting with Purpose, but I'm republishing it. It's at the publisher now, but it's going through a revamp, and it will be Parents Who Know to kind of go with my brand. And I also have written children's books.
So very nice. We hope to have links to all of your things. Okay, Lori. Thank you, Chanel.
Yes, I'm joining the meeting kind of spontaneously. Susan is my longtime friend from when we were in college, long time ago. So I'm very excited that has done so much with her life and her career. We were 20 years old when we met, and at UC Santa Cruz. I live in Santa Cruz, and I'm very excited to be here and see her, hear from her about this award, because I don't know that much about it, but want to hear more.
Thank you for joining us. That's so nice. All right. Lorraine.
I think this is amazing, and Jenny, you're getting all kinds of ideas, and Chanel, you guys can put this to your best effort to share these women on your podcast and on our page. That's what I am really excited about this next year, that we can really connect as members of American Mothers, because I've met all of you except Lori, and you're amazing women. And like Dorothy, my joy has come from the relationships and contacts with each of you. And I hope that we do get to spend more time together, even if it's just whatever. So let's turn it back over to Dorothy to hear from our 2 special Mothers of the Year. And I have really appreciated, Susan, everything you've done and carrying the load this last year. I apologize, but you understand, I think now, why I've not been as effective as I probably should have been. But I think we're on the road to recovery, and we'll be there, Simona, to promote and get you on board. So take it away, gals.
Well, I was just going to say that Lorraine is very happy to finally find out why she hasn't felt better last year. So, all right. So you had a little bio in your invitation about Susan, but now let's hear from her. And is this your father too?
It's my mom told me, yeah.
Welcome.
We're having a hard time with the computer. So.
Oh, okay. Welcome to him as well. Okay, Susan, we'd love to hear.
Okay. Well, Lorraine, I want to tell you, you keep saying that you feel bad for not being there for me. And I want to tell you that when you came up to Santa Cruz to visit us, as soon as they announced that I was going to be California Mother of the Year for 2019, it was one of the most exciting things in my life. I mean, we sat together in my kitchen, in my office, do you remember that? And we brainstormed about what it is to be a California American mother, because I had no idea what that meant and all the different exciting things that were going to come along for the year. And
Just leave it off.
energy.
Just pretend like it went off.
Oops.
The power went off. I don't want to be on this. They're going to start asking me questions and stuff. Shit, I don't want to do this.
Can you mute Sumi? She keeps
This is great. You can mute people.
I know. Because I think she doesn't realize that we can hear her.
Yeah.
So, Mom, we're muting you. I bet my kids would have loved doing that forever, for years. That'll be cute, Mom. I don't want to hear you now. But anyhow, back to Lorraine. She was the inspiration. She came all the way up to Santa Cruz. She drove up here, and we brainstormed. We talked about websites. We talked about just what to do for the California Gala, what would the national gala was going to be all about, because I had a million questions for her. And then the next exciting thing was going to the California Gala, which I'm really sad that we don't have for Simona this year, because for me, I got to meet the 2018 Mother of the Year, and that was really exciting to meet all of you that were there, the board of directors, and my family and friends came out for that, and it was just such an honor. It was such a beautiful venue. And it just sort of opened up the whole thing of just grasping what the heck Mother of the Year was, because I didn't really understand what it was and what the title would be for the year. And then nationals came, and national was amazing. And Lorraine tried to explain this to me, to say that, hey, be prepared, you're going to love it, it'll be the best thing ever. And it really was. It gave me a chance to meet all 50 Mothers of the Year from all over the United States and talk to them, get to know what their stories were, to have seminars. And we spent so much time together for 3 days. And we got to get dressed up for the gala at the Mayflower Hotel, which is one of the nicest hotels in DC. And it was just really, for me, it was just the highlight of the year. It was such a great way to launch being the California Mother of the Year. It was a really humbling experience to be with all these amazing mothers and to meet the board of directors for national and just get a sense for that. I think one of the highlights for me was going to Dorothy's room at the Mayflower on the last night and staying up to the wee hours of the morning, just talking about everything. I felt like schoolgirls, just talking about all the things and all the people and a little bit of gossiping and all that fun stuff. And it was really, for me, it was just, I felt so welcomed. And I loved the California team, because it was the California moms that were there. And it was just so nice just to be together and just look at what's going to happen for the following year. And while I was there in DC, they set up a day for us to go meet with the senators. So I went to Senator Kamala Harris's office, and she was running for president at the time, so she couldn't see me, but I did see her staff. And we discussed childcare, because that's one of her big platforms, was dealing with childcare problems in California. And I just wrote this book called The Millennial's Guide to Free Childcare in Your Home. And I presented this to them, and they really liked the idea of being able to have moms provide childcare in their home for free, because that's something that's a huge problem in California, because everything in California costs so much. And they liked the idea, and I've been working with their office to talk about how to do this, because I did this for 9 years. I had childcare in my home. I had a teacher that came in and taught my kids. My kids also had friends that came in as students, and they paid a tuition, and that tuition paid for the teacher, which made it free for me. And my kids learned to read when they were 3, and they went off, and they were top students in their, all the way through school. They went on to Stanford and Claremont McKenna College. And I really attribute it back to having a really good preschool and childcare program that they started with, because they, once a child feels like they're smart, nobody can take that away from them. That's their self-esteem. And that's something I feel that I wanted other California moms to get. So I've been talking about this. I've been blogging about it, podcasting about it, so that people can understand that they can set it up. It's not for millionaires. It's something that anybody can do, and it doesn't cost you a penny. So it's actually a free program. So that's part of my whole DC experience, was doing that. And I've been working with Senator Kamala's office since. I've been back. We've been talking back and forth and trying, now that she's not on the campaign trail so much, I don't know what she's going to be doing, but we are talking about this program because she is interested in it. And I made a lot of really good friends in DC while I was there with the other mothers. The mother, Carol Milletta, she's a Washington, DC Mother of the Year. She has a radio show called Parenting 411, and she interviewed me on her show, and she actually came out to California, and we have become very, very good friends. So it was just such a wonderful experience. It was so humbling to be around these dynamic women and a board of directors that's powerful, and to be part of an organization that represents mothers across the United States. I just felt really proud to be part of that. And look, did you want to say something, Dorothy?
I hoped you weren't finished yet.
Okay, no, I was going to say.
You have your project, your other project.
Yeah, you asked me to talk about, I was just going to say, then you asked me to talk about projects. And there are 4 things that I did as California Mother of the Year. So for me, the first thing was, when I got back from DC, was I sat down and just said, okay, what are my goals for this year? I've got 1 year to do, all kinds of things, and I want to have a legacy. I want to be able to say, look, this is part of what I brought to the California American Mothers. And the first thing I did was, besides the childcare, I started that in DC, but when I got back I started Project Merit, which is something that I do personally as far as my college advisory services. But I believe that it's really important for students. And I'm thinking in California, we've got millions of high school students, and if every one of them did a project, it would help them get into college, it would help them get scholarship dollars, and it'll help California, and we so desperately need that. One of my students this year designed a little canister that's filled with fire retardant, and he wants to put it below all the PG&E lines. So when a fire sparks off the off the poles, instead of it turning into a wildfire with thousands of acres, he wants to snuff it out while it's only 5 feet wide, which is brilliant. It's a 14-year-old came up with that idea. He's patenting his idea, and he's putting this together. And these are the kind of projects that I think that our students, that they're not afraid, like we are adults, about starting something new. They're not afraid about patents. They're not afraid about lawsuits. They just create things. And I've got a student who's helping with the coronavirus, and because there was a supply chain problem, he is actually designing a supply chain website where people can say, or hospitals can say, we're out of PPE, and suppliers can come and say, I've got it. And he's connecting people with organizations so that they can get the supplies they need. And it's a completely free program that we're organizing so that people can have access to things without saying that, we're going to throw out gallons and get thousands of gallons of milk because it's supposed to go to a restaurant or a school, and those are both closed. So now we have nothing to do with it. Let's just throw it away. I mean, he came up with the idea when we were talking about that, and he just said, wow. So for me, projects is a really important thing that we get our students involved in. Again, it's something that doesn't cost anything. It's something that anybody can do on their own. I wrote a book called Beat the College Admissions Game, Do a Project. And this teaches kids how to put together a project. You don't need the book. You can actually do this on your own, so they can just create projects, but it gets scholarship dollars. It gets them into college. It builds up their self-esteem, and it just makes them more valuable California students. So that's one of the big projects. That's the first thing I did. The second thing I did was I came back to one of the biggest fears we have in California, which is our year-round fire problem. And one of my students created a project. I've got several kids working on fire projects right now. But one of the things I did was I created micro communities in my area, and I organized it so people would work with their neighbors to help them should there be an evacuation or a disaster like a fire or an earthquake, and help them help their neighbors by getting them organized. And I also created this online form, which is kind of like my little baby, and I'm really excited about it because it's really easy to fill out. It's confidential, and they can say, we've got 2 non-ambulatory people. We've got a dog or a cat or a rat or whatever you've got as pets in your house. And I've got a propane tank outside, and I also have a fuel tank outside because I've got a tractor, and I've got PG&E meters. I've got 3 PG&E meters, and they're located here. And you get to write all that in there, and then you upload it, and it goes to a site where we are managing it right now. We're going to be passing it on to somebody else. But from there, it goes to the fire department. So every year, the fire department gets to get this information that's updated by residents who put information in. And it's so popular that the fire chief in Santa Cruz County is really excited. He's talking to all the fire chiefs. He's invited me to come and talk to them this year so we can get Santa Cruz County going. And my goal is to continue to do this and get it throughout the whole state of California, which is going to be easy for us to do. And then I want to really reach out to the National American Mothers so I can talk to all 50 states and all the mothers in all 50 states and show them that this is a real easy form. Just give them the link and just say anybody can fill this out. They just have to know what fire department is their local fire department. It goes to the fire department, the fireman gets that, and then every year it gets updated. So I'll just remind everybody, it'd be really easy for me once a year to say, hey, April is the fire season, May is the beginning of the fire season. So in April of every year, we're going to let people know that it's time to fill out this form. So that's one of my babies that I've been working with in terms of helping with the fire prevention. And I also created this YouTube video about how to create a go bag, which is a bag that you have in your house filled with, or rather you put it in your car, and in your car it's filled with everything you need in case you've had to evacuate without even being able to go in your house. So you've got your meds, your money, your food, your blankets and clothes and all that stuff in your car. And I also set it up so that you can have a go bag in your house that's sort of empty with a list of things that you can get, because if you're in a hurry, you're not going to think straight. And you're going to say, oh, I forgot the jewels, or I forgot that heirloom or whatever. You would look at this, and I actually created a little list with pictures on it. So in case you're really stressed out, you'd say, oh yeah, my cougarats, I got to go get those in the attic, or I've got to go get these things. And a funny story, my mom's listening right now, is my brother-in-law, my mom had a house on the beach in Malibu, and it fell into the ocean. And they only gave her a couple hours to pick out the things she needed, but she was at school, she was teaching at the time, and she couldn't get back. So my brother-in-law went in to get things. She says, just get stuff. I don't know, just get things. You have 2 hours because they're going to close it down. They're going to completely demolish her house. He went in, because he was only 19 years old. He went in and got her TV and VCR, you know? And she came back and just said, you saved my TV. She had just gotten back from a 10-month trip around the world. She had stuff from all over the world. He thought that because he's 19, the most important thing in her house was her stereo, her TV, and her VCR, because back then the VCR was a big deal. So I tell that story to people, and I just said, you can't rely on your son or even your husband. So I told my husband, I said, if there's an emergency, here's the list in the priority until it's time for you to actually evacuate, just get these things. So I tell that as a joke because I want people to see how important it is, how easy it is to not make smart choices in an emergency, and to be prepared. So that was my second thing. And the third thing I've done this year is with the coronavirus pandemic. My daughter is an ER doctor, so I see firsthand what's going on in the ER, and it is really scary. I mean, every single day, I got to tell you, I am stressed out. My daughter is going into work with people who have COVID, and she can die every single day. And I keep telling her, I don't stress her out. Anything she wants, I give her. I just want her to go to work, get home, get through this, and stay alive. When she told me she didn't have PPE, I was ready to kill somebody. And I told her, I said, quit. I said, they can't protect you. This is not okay. And then the staff was just really losing momentum. They were just losing focus. And that's when I said, okay, we're making masks. So we started making masks, and I made 3 layered masks with a filter in it. So she told me exactly what she needed. She said, for me to wear this, she goes, it's gonna be hot. She says, I don't wanna die. She says, I want you to put a filter in it with 3 layers of cloth and all this stuff. So she designed it with me, laid it all out. I have friends sewing, so we were sewing around the clock. My IT, Patrick, actually made 3D masks. He made hundreds of them for me. And then we got a friend to get us bottles of wine, which I know is kind of crazy. And I know the fire department, the hospitals didn't like it. And they'd be really, I'm not going to tell you which hospitals or what fire departments we gave it to, because they would all be in trouble for accepting it. But I got to tell you, I was in our RV while we're passing them out, hundreds of them out to people during their breaks. And they just were so elated that it just made me feel like it was so worth it, because they came up to the window and they kept saying, "Oh my God, this is amazing." They said, "Thank you, thank you." And it was just the idea that we would give them something like wine to make them feel, you know, it's a celebration, a bottle of wine, and to make all these things. And it was in a beautiful basket filled with ribbons and everything. I made it really pretty with little signs and all that. And I put California Mother, you know, from your California Mother. And they loved it. And I wanted to get our name out there so they knew that this is coming from a good place. And so I did that, and I'm continuing to do this because we're going to have another wave of the COVID, unfortunately, probably around October, November. My daughter's expecting a huge wave. And again, the morale of the ER people, the people who are frontline workers, is questionable, and it's dangerous, you know, to have them not feeling good about what they're doing or feeling protected. So I want to be able to provide that again. So that's the third thing I've done as far as being a California Mother this last year. And the last thing I've done, and I've been doing this before I was California Mother, and I'm going to continue in the future, is I write blogs, and I write blogs about parenting, things on how to get your child into college, how to get free childcare, how to educate your child, how to be an advocate for your child. And things like, I even do DIY things like, here, I just built a deck, so a redwood deck. So anything I do, I just put it up there just to show mothers that you can build things, and it's really easy to do, and you can make all kinds of things. And so I just put things up just for fun, and I put things up for parenting, just to let parents know that there's lots of ways to do things, and here's one way. And if you read my blogs, I've got thousands of them up there. I go back and forth and just say, yeah, I'll do it this way, and then I'll change my mind and say, no, do it that way, and just to make everybody feel like they fit in. And there's so many ways to parent. There's no one way to do it. And I'm certainly not a perfect mother. Talk to my girls, and they'll definitely attest to that. And so I write blogs, and I write books, and I also have started a podcast. And as a matter of fact, I just talked to Simona, and she's agreed to be one of my interviewees. So I'm going to be interviewing Simona for my podcast, and during the summer we decided to go ahead and set that up. So I'm really excited to have her as one of my guests. And Chanel also interviewed me for her podcast about 2 months ago. So it's a small world. We all work together, and I just love I want to tell you guys, thank you, Dorothy, thank you, Lorraine, thank you everybody for all that you've done for me in terms of supporting me for this year, financing my trip to DC, and just all the things that you've done. It's been really exciting. And it's been heartwarming, and I've been so proud to be able to represent California, and just having that platform. So Simona, and everybody else who's a California mother, it's such a wonderful thing to be able to say that you're the Mother of the Year, and you get attention. People pay attention. I mean, when I talked to the fire department and said, well, I'm the California, he said, well, who are you? And the first thing I said before I even said my name, I said, I'm the 2019 California Mother of the Year. And he says, wow, he says, let's meet. And he actually came up to my house to meet me, and we sat down, and he's just paved the path for me to do everything. He says, whatever you want. He says, I don't want you to ever stop being California Mother of the Year. He goes, when is your term up? And I said, Mother's Day. And I said, we've got work to do. And it was great, because he was, he's a huge supporter of what we do. And then when I told him I wanted to, provide these gifts for the entire fire department, for the entire ER, he's the one who said, he goes, I'll make it happen. He goes, I don't know how I'm going to do it. And he ended up getting his own personal truck and picking it all up and doing everything he needed to do. And he goes, don't ask any questions. He goes, I did it, but being California Mother of the Year really does hold a lot of weight with people. So it's an exciting role, and I'm sad that I'm no longer California Mother of the Year, but I'm glad to be part of the California American Mothers, and I look forward to working with all of you in the future.
So you will always be the 2019 California Mother of the Year.
Well, thank you. You can't get me to stop doing it. No, I really do enjoy. It's just part of my personality, just to be able to do stuff. I like doing things. I like helping people, and having the title really does help. It does. People listen, and it's a very respected position to be in, and I'm very, very proud to be able to have that title. So thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you. That was just wonderful. Great report. And we had Joy Burkhardt join us. Welcome, Joy.
Yeah, hi, Joy.
We can't see you, but we can see that you're on. All right. So I think what we'll do is, and Chanel said that you helped her daughter with her project.
Yes.
And that it was amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I
do work for, and I do a lot of pro bono work, and I like to do it for all the American mothers. I mean, I love what I do. I mean, I would do it whether I got paid or not, and it's just, to me, it's just part of who I am, and I love working with Chanel. Chanel's amazing, and I love being interviewed by her, and I think this group of people is just, it's such a dynamic group. It's such a warm, loving, powerful group of mothers. I mean, we're all mothers, and that's a huge thing. And being a mother is really, really difficult. We've all had tough times being a mom. I mean, there isn't a mother I know who says, "Oh yeah, it's been a piece of cake. My kids are angels." You know, not happening. So it's just nice to have the support from all the mothers. And yeah, I love working with Chanel's daughter, and I've worked with a lot of the other mothers of the year that I met in DC also. So I've been doing a lot.
Oh, that's nice. Chanel, just quickly, what was the project?
Yeah, so she put together a website about reading and writing. She did all these videos, reading, grammar lessons, all this stuff. And then she's working on a book of kids' experiences in quarantine. But what Susan did that was so great is, you know, if I had come up with, tried to talk to her about this idea, she wouldn't have even had it. And Carissa, my daughter, came up with the idea, but Susan really coached her through it and just kind of let her see what was possible. And she has just worked on it so hard. And I think that comes from, you know, having Susan believe in her and believe that she could do it and just give her, kind of light that fire under her. So it was great.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks for the update. I love it.
How could you tell Susan that you weren't going to do it? That would work. All right. So what we'll do, I think, is go ahead and let Simona talk. And then if you have questions, if you want to stay on. Some have had to leave because they had things with their children. And but we can stay on as long as you want and talk about these things. But we'll let Simona go next. And then, so if anyone else has to leave.
Thank you everyone for coming to meet me, and I'm so sorry we didn't have a chance to meet in person. I've been so excited to be part of this organization, and I have the same things to say about Lorraine that everybody else already said, that she's wonderful and the first person that I encountered since I've been part of American Mothers. And you may have seen my son a couple of times in the back because he's hungry. That's why he's coming in. I'm a single mom. I live with my son by myself. He's in 4th grade and his name is Luke. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, my background, and how I grew up and what I'm doing today. And I don't want to keep you too long, but if you have any questions or would like to learn more about what I'm doing, please reach out to me and I can tell you more detail. But as all of you probably, I will have to go and feed my son in a little bit. So I grew up in Hungary, and at the time, Hungary was a communist country. So I grew up under very modest circumstances, but I never realized at the time how poor we were because nobody had anything. And if you know Hungary, it's a small country. Only about 10 million people live in Hungary. But I didn't even live in the capital city of a small country. I lived on the countryside, like literally a town that's not even marked on the map and doesn't have, and it didn't even have roads when I was growing up. It didn't have a phone. So like some of my early memories from childhood is after the Berlin Wall fell, I saw the Russian tanks leave the country. So my experiences in my childhood were very, very different. I didn't have many experiences like going on vacation and things like that. But I did live in a house with my great-grandmother, my grandparents, and my mom. And ever since I was a little girl, they used to tell me, you know, you're so lucky because all you have to do is study. You don't have to go and do hard labor in the fields. You don't have to, drop out of school. There's no war. So I spent a lot of time with my grandparents instilling this in me. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm so lucky. I can study. And my grandmother had to drop out of school during the war when she was 12 years old. So I always thought that my education was such a privilege. I went to Hungarian elementary school, German high school, and then I ended up coming to the United States for college. And by the time I was 18, I was fluent in 3 languages. And when I moved to the United States, I was completely by myself. My family has never been here. So it was very, very, very hard. But I didn't really have a lot of experience. I didn't really have a lot of opportunities in Hungary to pursue my education in the way I wanted to. So I took this big leap of faith and moved here. And it wasn't easy, and it wasn't the way that I planned it, because a year or 2 later, I ended up losing my immigration status, and I had to drop out of school and actually be undocumented and wait until I was able to become an American citizen to go back to school. So I did end up going back to school. Before I did that, I was taking ESL classes and general education classes at a community college. And I remember going into the counselor, and she was the only person who could have helped me because I didn't have any parents who could have helped me with anything about college. And she asked me where I would like to go to finish my 4-year degree. And I said, I would like to go to UCLA. And she looked at me and said, well, don't you think that's a little too ambitious for you? Because, at the time I still didn't speak English that well. At the time I was still catching up with a lot of those classes that many students probably have completed in high school. So that, really stuck with me, that I had to work twice as hard always to really prove myself that I can do this. So long story short, I did end up going to UCLA. I ended up graduating with a perfect GPA, summa cum laude. So I never forget this experience because, it just like lit a fire under me that I have to do this and I can do this. But also because I always looked at my education as something really, really special. So fast forward to today, after school, I actually stayed at home with my son for a little while. So I also have the experience of being the career mom that I am today, but I actually stayed home with my son until he was 3 years old. And I would never change that for anything. I'm sorry, he's standing right next to me. Look, I'm almost done. He's hungry. So when kids are hungry, it's just the time to go. So fast forward to today, after I went back to work, I had a career in education, technology, and publishing. And in 2018, I became involved in politics. I was involved with an organization here in Los Angeles that was supporting Katie Porter, Congresswoman Katie Porter. And I was very, very taken with her. She was this amazing single mom with 3 children. She was so educated. I thought that she was the best person for the job, but I experienced how hard she had to work, twice as hard as others, to raise half as much money. And as you know, it's very, very expensive to run for office. You have to give up your day job, and you have to have a network of people who can fundraise for you. So she did win, but that experience of getting to know her and her campaign changed me forever, because I really, really wanted to do something for moms from that point on in politics. And as I started looking into it more, I realized that she will be the only single mom in Congress. There were no other members of Congress who are single moms out of 535 people. And then this organization I was working with was financially contributing to candidates who represented a certain platform, an anti-poverty platform. So I started looking into it and see if there's any organizations out there who can directly contribute to candidates who are moms. And there were no organizations in the entire country. And you may know that nonprofits can advocate for different policies and different causes and ideologies, but they cannot make direct contributions to candidates. So you have to be registered with the Federal Elections Commission as a federal PAC, and then make contributions to candidates. So there's no organization in the entire country. So I decided I'm going to form my organization, literally on my kitchen counter at the beginning of 2019. And I thought myself, accounting Federal Elections Commission accounting. I taught myself web design. I had very little resources. It's not like I had a ton of millionaires funding my organization. I funded it first, and then I started it first, and then I started looking for funding. So at the beginning, I had to do everything by myself. And I did it. By the end of 2019, I think I was getting a lot of attention for what I was doing because it was so unique. Even until today, there's only one more organization in the entire country that supports moms running for office. And fast forward to today, I am growing the organization into a coalition of moms across the country who all ran for Congress, who are now supporting women on the campaign trail. So I have a wonderful executive director in Texas who ran for Congress and is now helping me fundraise for the moms who are on the campaign trail. I have a director in North Carolina, one in California, and another one in Massachusetts and Puerto Rico. So I have all these amazing moms I get to work with every day who are passionate about equality and politics and women. And we help the moms who are running for office who apply for endorsements, and we contribute to their campaigns. As you can imagine, because of coronavirus, it has become really, really difficult for these first-time candidates to campaign. A lot of the times women don't have a fundraising advantage, but they have the advantage of going to knock on doors and meeting voters. And that's how a lot of women actually win their campaigns. They put their face out there, they meet their constituents, but that has been taken away from them. And at the same time, they have little kids at home. So it's been very, very challenging for moms and women to run for office this year, but we are doing our best. We are hosting virtual fundraisers. I think we received over 200 donations just last month. And we were able to, everybody volunteers from me, so our overhead is really low, and we're able to directly contribute almost all of our fundraising to moms. And these women are amazing. They inspire me every day. And we need moms in office because we lack policies in the United States that would help us, policies that would help moms at home and moms who are working. And if we had more moms in office, we only have 25 moms in office with children under 18 in our Congress. So the idea is if we had more moms in office, they would be proposing and voting for those bills that we really need passed that are not getting passed. The Paid Family Leave Act has been on the Senate floor for 7 years. So moms like me who have firsthand experiences of what it means to raise a child today really advocate for other moms. And if we had them in government positions, I think they would prioritize helping working families. So our goal is to elect more moms this year and hopefully get those policies passed that we're advocating for, such as paid family leave on a national level and universal preschool.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry that was so fast.
That's what we do, right? When children are hungry. When we set this time, I let the young mothers set the time and they thought this would work. So we'll do it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm going to, and we had Joy Burkhardt and Robina Sewell join us. Welcome to them. So I wanted to ask Jenny to give us a quick update on our communications, and then we'll go back if you have questions for Susan and Simona.
Okay, so we just wanted to let everyone know that we have a new website. It's AmericanMothersCalifornia.org instead of .com, but actually both are connected, so both can be used. But I wanted to show it to you really quickly because we really want this to be kind of everyone's website. We don't want it to be just one person or, you know, we just want to be able to connect as American mothers on this website. So as you can see, hopefully, can you all see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, okay. So as you can see, we've got Simona featured here, and then we have today's events, and then we just have some fun interactive things. This is a quiz about your day. Over here on the side is some funny things kids say, just kind of a laugh, and then we have connections to podcasts and Facebook and updated blog posts over here. And then down at the bottom here we have a gallery of a bunch of American mothers, and about half of those are real American mothers from California, and about half of them are stock photos. So here is my invitation, is that we would love for all of you to be on here. And we're trying to make it so that we can just click on the photo. If I was to click on Susan, and it would pop up with a little candid bio about her that she can use to connect with people. We really feel like especially during COVID-19, that we're losing a lot of our connectivity as mothers, that people are feeling quite isolated. And so we wanted to try and connect online or virtually in any way that we can. We made an example of Lorraine and myself here, and this is what we have so far, but we're hoping to connect those too, just the pictures here. So please send me pictures of you. I know sometimes people like to be modest and not do that, but we want you to be a part of this and to be able to connect with other moms. And we would love to add you in your bio here. So at the top, you can see the kind of trifold mission of American Mothers is education, service, and recognition. We do have an education menu item here, and this Live in 360 is about health. I'm actually finishing up a degree right now in public health, and so for part of an internship, I have to promote a health program of some kind. And so maternal depression has been kind of my focus, and so just helping mothers take care of themselves socially and, you know, physically and emotionally and mentally and in every way has been kind of a passion of mine. And so that will help me fulfill my internship. And so you'll see health things there. And then we have service over here. And right now it's all Susan's projects, which are awesome. In fact, I love listening to Susan talk about those because I've been reading about it a little bit. It comes so much more alive when she's telling you about it. So that was really fun. But we would love to have other people, especially right now when we're not able to meet in person, we would love to have you share with us what kind of service projects you're doing. I know I heard some really great projects as you were introducing yourselves. And we'd love pictures and stories and things that you can share here. And then of course we have the Mother of the Year, and this one features Simona and has some great pictures of her and her son Luke that we've been able to see, and then some of the political things she's been doing, which has been really fun. It also teaches us how we can nominate Mothers of the Year, which are open right now. So we'd love to get nominations, be thinking of that. And then of course the 5th grade essay contest. So we would love to hear from all of you. Right now it's set up. The foundation of the website is going. We just really need content from mothers to connect to each other and to kind of be able to see what we're doing, especially virtually right now. And this is kind of the only way we can connect. And we of course look forward to the day when we can have actual events and actual projects and meet in person. But that is my invitation to all of you right now. So I'm going to put in the chat box my email to everyone. And please send me pictures of you and bios and projects and things that you're doing. We'd love to feature them and help other moms connect. So thank you. That's all I have to say. I love Simona and Susan's talks. That was wonderful.
Good job.
Yes, and we thank Susan. She has been running the website this past year. So thank you for keeping that going.
Fun. Yeah, it was great. Lorraine helped me organize it and think about it and put it all together.
Well, and Jenny is a vice president over our communications, and it's a huge, huge job. And I think having someone take care of that makes it feel like we can do this. We can do this. So yes, wonderful, wonderful talks. It's just been very nice to be together. Do any of you have any questions that you'd probably the moms?
Dorothy, I want to say one thing if we could.
Yes.
Now that everybody's on here, we are going to be looking for a service project. And Mary Helen and those of you that work in the school districts, if there's anything we can do with the school districts to do service as American Mothers, please let us know. Anybody have any recommendations for service projects, or if you're willing to serve on one of the committees, just contact one of the board members.
Okay.
Great meeting you guys. Sorry it's so long, but it's been really fun to see everybody and to have the input that we've had. I'm off.
Has Mary Helen had an opportunity to share the project she's been working on, and even her daughter. I know many of you are aware of her tremendous work, but did you already share that, Mary Helen?
I did share,
Okay.
yes. I did share what Mia's doing and what I was doing, and now how we're trying to get kids back on campus. And, you know, Susan, I'm in awe listening to what you were talking about, because I totally agree with you. We can get our youth to work on these service projects. You're right. It builds her self-esteem. I mean, it just has changed my daughter tremendously. Her little project that she started to where it's at now has just been, you know, really something. And it's you know, she just keeps taking it to a different level. And you know, my older daughter says to her, girl, you're gonna get into anywhere you want to go to school because of this project. I mean, it's just outside of the box, and how it's just really grown. And if we can, you know, really just capitalize on all of our youth and get them to do, you know, I'm interested. I am going to look up your book and look at that. And I know some of the schools in our area do have their kids do a service project before they graduate. But I mean, if they even started it sooner, then it would just be that much more. So I am going to do a little bit more research on, like I said, your book, and just really push it through. And, you know, I have some influence in the district, and I just think it's something that everybody should do, you know, as these kids and our young adults. And you're right, just the self-esteem it builds with themselves, and how I've watched my daughter grow through her project and her self-esteem and her self-confidence. And, you know, it's just really amazing. So, yeah.
Mary Helen, we would love pictures of everything you're doing with your daughter. Please.
I will.
Let's put them on.
I mean, to hear, you know, she had won another award and because of it, and she got up in front of 300 predominantly men, and she said the reason why, you know, I started this because nobody wants to talk about, you know, Kotex, tampons, and periods. And, you know, I don't know if the room gasped or not, but here's this little 12-year-old girl who's up there, you know, talking about these needs that our homeless women need. And, you know, just the fact how, you know, in the old days, you know, I'm much older than a lot of you guys. And in our house, you didn't talk about tampons and Kotex. And when you're on your period, it's like, you know, now it's like we have to empower our young women to make sure that they understand that it's not something bad. It's just part of life. And this is where we are. And this is what happens. And so I think with people like my daughter, who just kind of talks about that, and, you know, the project, Susan, you're talking about, I just think we need to just continue to empower our young girls and our boys too, you know, and, you know, her friends, and, you know, she has her friends, and she's like, here, keep this in your backpack. And they're like, what for? Now one of your friends ever needs a tampon or a Kotex, it's there to help support. So, you know, she's working now at a higher level. She's going to try to pass a bill in the district, not a bill, we call it policy in Ally Unified in the district, to make sure that no girls even have to pay for this, because sometimes they have to go to the nurse and pay money, whether it's 50 cents or $1 or whatever it may be, if they're not, you know, if they're not prepared. And so she's working with one of the board members closely in order to try to get that passed, you know, so so feminine hygiene products would just be available to any girl who needs them. You know, she does a lot of research on how girls don't come to school sometimes. You know, I live in and I work in a lower socioeconomic area, and we do have girls who don't come to school sometimes because they don't have the supplies they need. So if we can provide them in the school, then we'll, you know, we help with that. So I will definitely, Jenny, send you some pictures and you know, a little bit about her project and my project and what we do, and we'll continue on with that. So
I love your pictures of your daughter too. And
yes, I will.
Wonderful. Mary Helen, that's wonderful that your daughter's doing that. There are 4 million kids going into 9th grade every year in the United States. That's 4 million kids.
Yes.
4 million kids did a project for 4 years during high school.
Imagine.
We can revolutionize and change America. We can change policies. We can change, we can handle climate change. We can handle immigration. We can handle all the problems we have, because these kids for 4 years, and I work with all these kids. I mean, that's all I do. I'm a college developer, and I help the kids with projects as they get into really great colleges. And it's remarkable. And I tell the parents, I said, these kids, when they do these projects, they change, like you said, for your daughter. And my daughter similar. When she was in 8th grade, she met with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he gave her an award because she wanted to convert every internal combustion engine car in the United States to use hydrogen instead of gasoline. And he's really into hydrogen at the time, and he was our governor at the time. And she sat and she spoke at the Walt Disney conference call. My mom's here, she was there, she saw that, and you could hear a pin drop. She was 13 years old or 14 years old. The whole panel was all PhD scientists, and then my 16-year-old or 15-year-old daughter. And at the end of the conference, she got a standing ovation. 2 women in the audience walked up with the keys to their car and handed it to her and said, "Convert my car, I'm donating it." So she got 2 car donations, and and American Honda offered her a hydrogen fuel cell car, which was a $1 million car. She was actually 15, I remember now. She was 15 years old. She didn't have a driver's license, so the deal didn't work. But it changed her life. I mean, after that, she would go to parties and stuff with her friends, and I'd drop her off and I'd say, "Jacqueline, this sounds kind of sketchy here." And she looked at me and she said, "Mom," she said, "do you think I've worked this hard to get where I'm going? To go in there and get pregnant or get drunk or get arrested?" She said, no. She says, "None of these guys are worth it." And I said, "Great." I said, I was so proud, so, but I saw at that moment that she had in her eyes that she was convinced that nothing could stop her. And she's at Northwestern. She just got her master's degree, and my daughter went to Stanford and Stanford Medical School. They both did major projects, and they realized that that the project help them become who they are. And that's what I'm saying, that if we can get 4 million kids across the United States, and I'm really happy to continue this, because I really believe this, that if we can get California kids, teenagers, like I work with Chanel's daughter, I mean, they all have ideas, but moms and dads can't tell them to do that, and teachers can't tell them to do it, because that's not the world they're in. But we can encourage them, and they can see that they're making a difference. They're going to do it for themselves, and they're going to change who they are. They're going to become brighter, more intelligent, more interesting, better people. And that's what we are. I mean, we're moms. We're California American mothers. And that's what I would love to see happen throughout the state. So if you need me to speak anywhere, if you want to talk about
definitely
send people to me. Be happy to just meet with people pro bono and just talk to them, just to get them. And I've also done lots of podcasts and videos on you can just check my website and just see that. But I've got all kinds of things that just inspire people. You don't need to spend a penny. It's just really whatever they care about. And it's whatever that is important to them. If they do that for 4 years, they will make instrumental changes in our society that we so desperately need right now. And more than ever, we need just major changes. And I was hoping to really launch that during my 1 year as California Mother of the Year for 2019. I didn't succeed at that. I'm going to continue to do this, to just keep going, just keep getting people out there. Leading by example, by saying, "Hey, there's something that needs to be done. Let's just do it. Roll up your sleeves and do it," and get these kids involved. And they are so amazing. I spend my days with 16 to 17, 18-year-old kids, and they inspire me, because they don't have the garbage and the terrible energy or thoughts or fears and whatever worries. They just look at it like, "Wow, yeah, I can do that," and then they just do it, and it's just really powerful. So that's what I'm hoping we can do as a group, and continue this. And if we can keep meeting maybe once every quarter or something, where we can get together and meet with other people and look at groups and look at high schools. I would love to talk to high school kids, especially in 9th grade, to say, "Hey, you've got 4 years. You can't afford to go to college. Guess what? My daughter's got full rides. They went to the most expensive colleges on the planet and the most difficult colleges to get into, and they both got in everywhere they went, and they got amazing scholarship offers. So it's easy to do. It's just a matter of giving these kids a chance to know what they can do. And it's a win-win, because then we can get all kinds of projects that we want to get done taken care of. So we should make a list of all the things we want to fix in California, and then continue to get these kids to go out there and do that. And like I said, I'd be very happy to coach them and get the message out, and then recruit volunteers, because you can get people who are retirees to come in and coach people. I've got doctors who are mentoring my kids who are looking for medical projects. We've got engineers who are retired who also help other kids to engineer devices. So there's all kinds of ways for us to continue to inspire our kids. Plus, we give our kids a chance to really think about careers that they want to do, so they can try it out and say, politics, not so much, or engineering, hate it, and they can make smart choices. Okay, I've done enough talking.
Thank you.
Well, but the thing, you say you haven't got it going, but here you have Chanel's daughter, you have these others scattered around, it spreads.
Okay, good. Well, that's what I'm hoping.
And Simona as well. We really do want to have little group meetings around the state as it opens up, so that we can have other moms here. This is a great way to do it, and maybe we do these every once in a while, because we'll get different people each time. This has been very, very inspiring and very nice to have all of you here and be able to just share what you're doing. It's very, even the ones who were not on the program, what you're doing is very inspirational as well. We have wonderful moms involved. So I'm sure your children, those young children, are really hungry by now. But we will continue this. And Joy and Robina, we say hello to you. Do you have anything you want to say?
Well, I'm working right now, and with all of the budget cuts, the largest concern that I have in talking to other moms and is the childcare, how childcare is going to be handled. And I know the school districts are looking into it, and the governor is very committed to working on that as well. But I'm very interested in, I'm working with some folks in Sacramento and in San Diego, making sure that we're not stepping on anyone's toes that is already doing this kind of work, but kind of helping in any way we can to ensure that these funds come through. And if during the course of your lives that you talk to any parents who really have a very deep, passionate feeling about why it's so necessary to have childcare in this kind of uncertain time during the pandemic, have them feel free, if they wish, to call me anytime or email me. Again, they can just be anonymously sharing that information, or if they would like to talk to someone, they can as well. I just want to apologize for not getting on. I was having, earlier I had technical difficulties. The last thing I want to say is I just think the world of all of you and the work that you're doing, and it was really kind of God sent that we all came together and got to meet one another. So thank you.
Yes. And you may not have heard Susan in the beginning when she was talking about free childcare. Did you hear her?
Yeah, I would love to talk to you about that, because I really believe that we don't need to spend fortunes and try to set up so much legislation. It's something that can be done on a case by case, and every parent can do this. I did it for 9 years for free and had an incredible program. I mean, my husband was making a fortune at the time, and people thought that I just paid for all these services, and not one dime came out of our personal checking account. And my kids went on to do amazing things with their lives, and I really attribute it to them starting with the child care program that was free to me. So I'd be really happy to talk to you about that.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you.
All right.
I just thought I'd show my face. It's one of those days for me where I have no makeup on or anything. So I wasn't sure if I would share, but hello. I just wanted to say hello. And I've been
thanks
listening for a little while.
Thanks for coming on. We really
Absolutely.
appreciate that. Okay. And we recorded this, so we may share it with those that couldn't be on here tonight. So thank you.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
This is really fun. Lorraine,
very, very fun.
Thank you, Lorraine, and Dorothy. It's just so great. It brings back great memories. And thank you so much. I do have to run. I'm like 45 minutes late now. I've got to take off. But thank you for inviting me, and hopefully we can do something again real soon.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you, Dorothy.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Dorothy.
Thank you.